so here we go. On this problem, they give us a graph. The answer choices are down below, but everything wouldn't fit on one screen. So we're just gonna look at the graph and generate the equation, and then we'll match it up at the end with which equation actually matches this graph. All right? One way, if we're gonna be test savvy, one way that we can go through and figure out what is the correct answer is by inputting all of those A, B, C, D answer choices and seeing which answer matches up with this graph. All right, that's one smart test taking strategy that we can go through and actually figure out what it is. But I'm gonna go through the regular way with just us being able to know by reading this graph what the function is. So when I taught this to you guys, I taught it to you from the transformative function. The transformative function for absolute value, we know the absolute value parent function is f of x equals the absolute value of x. That's the parent function. But if I go and start trying to transform and reflect and shift left, shift right, move up, move down, then I have to add other parameters to this equation. And it becomes this function. F of x equals a times the absolute value of x minus h plus k. All right? So now let's go through and look at this and see if we can try to figure out, without looking at the answer choices, which equation would match this equation. So the first thing I'm going to zero in on, because to me that's always the easiest point to start with when I'm drafting up an equation, is by looking at the h and k. HK gives me my vertex. Your vertex is at positive HK. So let's go to this graph and see where our vertex is actually at. Your vertex is going to be this end point of the V, this point right here. So what is the coordinates for this point? Well, it looks like it's positive 3, 2. Positive 3, comma 2. So if I substitute positive 3, 2 into this transformative function for absolute value, all right, it gave me a positive 3, but I know once it goes into this, it should actually be a negative 3 for h. So far, I'm going to say f of x equals, I don't know what my a value is, something, it may be something, times x minus 3, because if it's minus 3 here, when it comes to the actual vertex, it's going to be positive 3 because it's inside the absolute value bars. And then if it's positive 2 for k, it's going to be positive 2 in the equation. So plus 2. So that's why I start with looking at the vertex first, because the vertex gives me most of the equation. The only thing it doesn't give me is what my a value is going to be, and we can easily figure that out. All right, so now that I got my h and my k, I just need to figure out if I have an a value. So I'm going to go and calculate to see, is my rise over run from my vertex going to give me some sort of different value outside of 1. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm starting from my vertex and I'm going to go find another point. I have a point here and I have a point here. I'm going to see what is the slope, or what is the rate of change, not the rate of change, what is the slope in between my vertex and getting to these points. Well, it looks like if I go up 1, 2, and over 2, I'm back on the line. And if I go to the left, up 2, over 2, I'm back on the line. So that 2 over 2 is equal to 1. So let's see if 1 over 1 gives me the same parent function. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So yeah, our a value is just 1. So it looks like our actual absolute value equation is going to be f of x equals, I don't have to put the 1 there, x minus 3 plus 2. All right, so now I'm going to pull up my answer choices and we'll see which one matches up with it. X minus 3 plus 2. All right, this won't move up. So I'll move it up from my computer. All right, looks like we're on a good path. Because when I look at the answer choices, it looks like x minus 3 plus 2. But I'm going to go and see which one is correct. This says x minus 3 minus 2. This one right here is incorrect. That is not what we came up with. All right, we said x minus 3 plus 2. So far, this one looks possibly good. This says x plus 3. We said x minus 3. So this is not the answer. This says x plus 3 plus 2. All right, we got x minus 3 plus 2. So it's not this one either. So it does leave me with B as the correct answer. So we have to remember those algebraic skills that we learned back in algebra last year. Also for this year for Algebra 2, and even after Algebra 2, we need to remember that. Because it'll still come up in pre-cal and calculus, statistics, whatever you go into, it's going to bring up those basic skills. All right, let's look at the last problem. All right, last problem is a word problem. And we've done word problems in this class when it deals with absolute value and calculating a certain distance. All right? Remember, when we're looking at absolute value equations coming from a word problem, what it's equal to is telling me that actual distance. So let's read the problem with fidelity and make sure we know how to answer this accordingly. All right? Juliana's car broke down on the highway 2 miles away from the marker of 127. Which of the following absolute value equations could be used to find the possible mile markers where Juliana's car is located? First things first, I want to know which answer choices can I get rid of because it does not tell me a distance of 2 miles away. Okay? This one right here says how many distances away from 0. This says 127 is what my distance should be. So it's not going to be A. Oops, sorry. It's not going to be A, and it's not going to be C. So that leaves me with a 50-50 chance of getting this problem correct because B and D give me a distance equal to 2 away from 0. And that's what we wanted. We wanted 2 miles away. So now I need to figure out which one is giving me a mile marker of 127. Well, let's think about this. When I actually go through and take it out of the absolute value, which one of these gives me a positive 127? Is it going to be the minus 127 or is it going to be positive 127 when it's inside absolute value? The correct answer should be B. Because when I take the absolute value of this and actually go and start figuring out things, when I take this outside, when I'm looking at the vertex per se, the vertex is going to be actually positive 127. Whoops. It's going to be positive 127, comma, whatever your K value is. All right? Anytime it's inside the absolute value bars, it actually becomes positive when it comes into actuality or reality. All right? So this is the only one that's going to give me the positive 127 mile marker that I'm needed up here. And then also two distances or 2 miles away from 127. It will not be this one because when on this one right here, if I was to start writing the vertex, this is going to be a negative 127, comma, K. For where my mile marker would actually be at. All right, so watch this video. Let me know if you have any questions, if you need some help, or if you want some extra problems. I can create some extra problems really quick and easy for you to go through and do some practice and check your answers. But let me know. Come and find me. Send me a message. Don't forget, I also created a Remind, so just message me on my Remind or send me an email. If you message me on Remind, that'll probably be the fastest way to get in touch with me because the Remind is on my phone, and I'm checking my phone all the time, all day, every day. All right? So the correct answer here is B. You guys have 1 through 3 and how to work those problems. So go through this and use this as a review for our snapshot that we're going to take on next week. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you're in your best behavior and you're showing respect. All right? Treat the subs as if they're your grandparents, your parents, your aunts, your uncles. Treat them as if they're family of yours as well. And let's just make sure we get through Algebra 2 this year, striving for our best. Thank you, guys.